to you our first tutor of the track, Mr. Wael Badawy. Wael is a professor and department head of data science at School of AI at Egyptian Russian University. And he will prepare your profile and resume to AI and data science workplace, 5 years future look tutorial. Enjoy.
Thank you for the introduction, and I would like first to start with the coming video. So this video is actually from SOAR, and it demonstrates how crazy, if we are in the right setup, I will just ask people, like, can you say what you see in the video? In a nutshell, this video demonstrates pirate ships swimming or cruising on the top of a coffee mug. This is how crazy can get into the area of artificial intelligence, or what we call it generative AI. So before we proceed, we have to understand this from Judge Kevin Castell. He stated very clearly that technological advances are commonplaces, and there is nothing inherently improper about using reliable artificial intelligence tools for assistance. The judge was actually looking for a case, and in this case, there was two lawyers, and each one of the lawyers have been using ChatGPT to produce the legal documents. This case came, I believe, July 2023, and the judge clearly stated that existing rules impose a gatekeeping role on attorneys to ensure the accuracy of their filing. So in a nutshell, the legal system or the court system, no matter where you are, this is supposed to be the very first case of precedence. I know majority of you, like from the EU or from Europe or different places around the globe. However, if we look for judgment on what the quality of the output of generative artificial intelligence, we find this is the most, the very first one, and this is the most appropriate. This statement, in a nutshell, it says that no matter what we do with artificial intelligence is basically not improper, which means allowed. However, we have the role of taking care of the quality, and this will come at certain point in the future of my presentation, where we talk about how you can generate your CV and your portfolio and what you could do from AI. There was another cases happened, and the other case, actually the judge stated that ChatGPT did not have the oath of lawyers, so ChatGPT cannot write legal documentations. This immediately stopped the concept of lawyers will be replaced by artificial intelligence, because the court system itself does not allow cases coming or documentation coming directly from ChatGPT. To continue the point and to close it down is the lawyers now, they do have the upper hand, and they do have to review the filing. So the new practice in New York court, for example, is whenever a judge will go and show, a lawyer will go and show a brief or court document, he will be asked and make a disclosure. Did you use ChatGPT or any other different similar platforms to produce any part of this disclosure? If the lawyer said yes to the judge will ask, did you personally review it, and are you responsible for the outcome? If the lawyer said yes, the judge will proceed. Otherwise, it would reject these documentations. There are lots of other discussions around social justice and what's happened, because the lawyers are actually representing other people. So what are these civilian people positions when they paid the money? And there are so many other issues, but the lesson learned from this particular practice is the court system is looking for the lawyers to maintain integrity and to accuracy and check the ChatGPT performance, which is another level of operation, where we would like to know is the ChatGPT actually working correctly or not, which means that lawyers in this particular track, and similarly medical doctors, and similarly other professions like accountant, they must exceed in quality what AI can do, because now you have to revise some documentation and sign off on it, which will make it really questionable, or really AI is using and replacing positions, or AI is taking care of a little bit of automations under the supervision of the actual operations. So when we look at these particular cases, I know that I'm not aware of the EU any cases, but if you look at these particular cases, you will realize what do you expect as a job as artificial intelligence expert or data science. And I will come in a point and talk about what kind of different position titles you can hold using a background of AI. If you have a comment, please feel free to type your disciplines, what's your major, or what do you expect to graduate? Are you a graduate? Are you currently working? And if you can put the origin as well, so we can at the end have some discussions about what exactly can you, like what more relevant to you. The big questions is, who are these two? And as I said, like when we do this work in real common places, we would ask, do you know any of these two faces? And if you don't know any of these two faces, please go to the comment and just type, what did you know about them, or where did you meet them, and where did you see them? You know, these people are very common, and I will come to explain who are they and why they are very common for us in the areas of AI. This is as crazy as a good ground for AI. So we just, okay, this is actually a small video to, anyway. So this shows a little bit of craziness in the area of AI. And we move next to this particular video. And I hope you can, this is actually a real video.
On gas at the corner of State
And I hope you can listen to it.
Something is causing jaws to drop.
Is it chills?
An eerie, luminous blue, ghostly image caught on surveillance video last Sunday. Station owner Ahmed Abu Zaharia had to do a double take.
I watched it for half an hour, and then actually I seen it move. That's really, I got freaked out.
Think that's freaky? Watch this. The image sits there for half an hour, then flies off. Now, watch this. The ghost on the car windshield, then floats away. Whatever this is has dozens of people coming over to check out the camera to see what in the world this possibly could be. While no one knows for sure, everyone seems to have an idea. Oh, a bag.
It looks like a plastic bag to me.
Angels. There's an angel here.
This was like an old Indian reservation, from what I understand, and I've lived here for 30-some years. So
Whatever it is,
I ain't seen no ghost.
it's turned non-believers into believers.
Because I remember my uncle used to tell me that once in a while he was hearing things like that.
Too bad it's not the ghost of cheap gas prices. Those are also gone with the wind. In Parma, Lena by 19.
So if this is actually a real TV segment. It was broadcast around 2008 on CNN from a local channel, and I used to have the actual one of the TV. And just to let you know, like, we may be the very first people to show you ghost on presentations. If you know any description or what this ghost is about and how you can get this ghost, or if you believe in ghost, write down in the comment, like, is this really a ghost? Is this really an angel? Is this actually a reservation or an old Indian area somewhere, and this basically evils flying over, or what? And we will position this in when we ask, like, can you really with computer vision detect what we don't know? Can you really identify unknowns if we don't understand what these unknowns? And we will move forward, and we will keep the ball rolling.
When the earth was suffering from a lack of technology,
This is
was suffering
a
from
movie
severe ignorance.
fully
There was
made
someone wanted to change the perspective
by
of the world
AI,
after he controlled
including the
he
translation.
wanted to control planet Earth. This invasion was against the views of his assistants, but he had other ideas. The people of the land gathered and presented it to them.
Oh, earthly people, I want you to join us to advance. We will provide everything that is useful in AI. We will completely change your life for the better. By subscribing to our program, this is your only chance. If you need to subscribe, contact us quickly. We are experts and have dominated other galaxies. The leader of this invasion is a very powerful person. Are you ready to face it and learn with it? He's excited to see you all. And now we are on a date with...
So
The Earth
this is another output of an AI data scientist work. And we have lots of effort, and I have a large team working in my team in this area of media and high quality video productions. The thing about it is, this is illustrate.
is suffering from a lack of tech.
This illustrates different works or different areas of AI. So what we want to talk about here is how you prepare your profile and resume to AI and data science workplace. In 5 years, our future look like what we see in the future. Here is my QR code if you guys would like to connect with me on LinkedIn. I am a member of the Research Council of Communication Information Technology in the Science Technology Research Council, and also I'm a chairman of data science department in the School of Artificial Intelligence. My background is computer engineering. I spent about 28 years in Canada, and you can see this is some of my contributions. And it's very important. People will ask me, like, why do you have this in this position? Because as young generation, when you try to listen to somebody experience, not an advice, I cannot give you an advice, I'll give you just my experience on how we evaluate AI and employees and workers, the researchers, data scientists, and what the market is. You must know where these guys are coming from. So I'm part of the Virtual Socket Alliance taxonomy contributors. I'm contributing to the MBEG standard. I have like few patents, 34 patents, about 400 technical papers, some books. I built some startup companies building 23 different products away from my academic positions. Here is a sample of my books. I'm the very first author of the very first textbook on lab on a chip. I also have books on system on a chip. I did books in entrepreneurship, commercialization training as well. You can find me on different magazines, on the cover of magazines, immigration magazines, Standard Council's awards, most innovative 25 companies. Here is electrical engineering or the automatic control engineer. And as immigrant, as you know, that if you are immigrant to a country, you can get an immigration service award after, this was actually after 15 years. I got the Distinguished Professional Award. And I'm lucky enough that after this, they discontinued. So I'm the last one, which means I'm the best one out of the 3 years they provide this particular award. And I'm also on the cover of the business magazine. So I mix in my background extreme technicality with lots of business management and as well as academia. Part of my career, I was very interested in understanding how we can manage undergraduate computer engineering degrees. And this was actually one of the IEEE publications I have. And in this publication, I position out of these different disciplines of engineering, we're calling them here, embedded hardware, robotics, artificial intelligence, distributed and mobile computing, multimedia and computer graphics, software engineering, network and cybersecurity, big data analytics, automatic control systems. There are some other future specializations. This Venn diagram, you see it in front of you, it actually demonstrates how we can build a specialization in the top here, and these specializations are actually covering these 10 topics. In this particular model, we demonstrate that you can take university requirement, faculty requirements, and electrical engineering requirement, computer engineering requirement, and then you can build a curriculum where every 6 months to a year, each one of us can switch gear from a discipline to another. And that's why we can talk about repositioning, about career reshaping, career shift, you call it sometimes. Individuals who did not have degrees in computer or in data science or in artificial intelligence, how they can switch to something else. The only exception here we can talk about is control and hardware implementation, because these particular disciplines these particular disciplines will require large will require background in electricity, electrical engineering, electronic engineering, which may not be available for everyone and for anyone. Okay, so this is background what put me in forward that I can talk about this particular topic. As I said, like if you want to understand why people can talk about this, is why we can talk about the topic. This particular rectangle here, it shows some diagrams which shows the dependency between different courses in different disciplines. So people now understand that this particular domain, which we'll talk about, is actually interrelated. You can have different positions, you can move forward. This is another article I write in the local magazine here, and as you know, I'm broadcasting from Egypt, so I use my skills in knowing English and Arabic as well as French that I write in one of the journals here, and this basically was stating what you had in 20th of December 2023 in UK, where in England they stated that machines cannot be invented. And this is here is important as a key element for you guys, because now you know that if you want to create copyright, trademark, new products, you cannot register them as users for the, you cannot get royalty on using of them because they are not invented. They know they are not invented. Why we deal with the EU? We deal with the EU because EU is the very first large organizations as a political organization, as a countries or consortium of countries or union of countries, is trying to establish some guidelines and some rules around AI. Everybody does not understand the game right now. Everybody's trying to figure out a way. In December 27th, I believe, there was a legal action have been taken by New York Times, and this basically suing OpenAI and Microsoft, the producer of ChatGPT, of Soar, of DALL-E, on copyright material. The lawsuit itself was amazing because they stated that they violated the term of use of the websites. They violated the identification of authors, because basically the production or the outcome of the OpenAI, it's very similar to an author or to a column in the New York Times, which means that it can personate the identity of the writer. It also stated that it violated the copyright because the copyright is an issue for, as you understand, anybody may create or write an invention, he holds the copyright, and the copyright area, it will be from the creation up to 50 years after they pass away, after they are dead. So here we have to be careful as well. If we produce and we work in data in area of generative AI, and we produce all of these sounds and all of this music and all of this write-up, are we actually impersonate individuals, and who is the liable for it? This is an open discussions, always try to state at the beginning. And we understand, like 2 days ago, there was a major actor, and she actually refused that OpenAI used very similar to her voice. as the OpenAI or the ChatGPT-O, the new voice activated commands, we call it, or voice activated interactions. So being aware of that is key for individuals, because if you don't understand, you may end up being in a very interesting situation. Before we start, we have to go officially. We may have individuals who are not from the field. So what we call it about, what is AI? Artificial intelligence have been defined in so many ways. The definition, which I really like, it was made by BWC, or Peter Water Cooper House, and this is a study group like Ernst Young, like major consultants, and they write these white papers, and this was actually in the mandate which went early on 2018 to Emirate and Saudi Arabia to establish the AI future they have right now. So they define AI as follows. It's a technology to allow humans or machines to mimic human activities. The most important part is it's either machine learning, where I get the machine to learn simple tasks. It's either natural language processing. It can do computer vision. It can define voice recognition. And in the recent years, there's something called deep learning. And in deep learning, the concept is to have a cascaded neural network, and each network or each layer will do a specific function. So instead of, in the machine learning, you have neural network for classification and the neural network for feature extractions. In the deep learning, you put all the layers after each other, and then you basically can do the whole operation. You don't need to superimpose lots of information from the user. This is something called unsupervised. There is pre-trained. There are so many other acronyms under this. If you stop here and look at where you can find a job, you must be able to find a job in one of these 5 disciplines. Each one of them will have different disciplines or different subcategories, we can call it. And these subcategories or subdisciplines we will discuss later. If you have any questions, just put it in. Now, if we want to talk about what is artificial intelligence and where can we use it, we have to understand that I'm not sure in Europe or in North America. I'm aware of North America. I'm not sure about Europe and about MENA area or North Africa and Middle East regions. We in these areas are basically appliers. We use applications. We don't build core science. And if there are some companies like in Germany or some places which they try to build core science and core network, they will not be too many for us. So if you can join one of these Microsoft sites or whatever Germany was doing or whatever Russia is doing or whatever Ukraine is doing or whatever, where they actually build the network from scratch, the transformers from scratch, God bless you. I am supporting you. Connect with me. Let me know that you are in this brilliant position. However, we are not in the 80% of us working in this area. So the examples we have here are basically some examples where we can go and program for it. So where the artificial intelligence is done, we have smart assistant like Siri, Alexa, and there are so many areas where you need to have localization, local accent, local slangs, where you can actually do whatever you like Siri and Alexa. I remember back in 2002, I used to work with the students in master degrees with a health facility, and we were develop an we call it discussion enhancement or vocal enhancement. So elderly, when they go to hospital, they cannot pronounce too much, too good. You know, they are very low voice. They don't say so much. So we took the jargons and made sense out of it and give it to the nurse for interviews. So this kind of smart assistant or detections, this is actually a very interesting area of need. Almost all banks, almost all companies, they do have consumer in place. They can use this smart assistant. And we start to try the major providers. And we found out exactly like the presenter yesterday was saying, This technology have been made in different regions, so it does not work. So computer vision is made in Asia, will not work in Europe because the samples you have are different. When he was talking about the Intel core for visualization or computer vision, is the same. If you have somebody with we don't have British accent, but with a British accent in Ukraine or in Slovenia or in France, it will not be functioning in a higher rate of acceptance because each one of us, they do have an accent which is part of your fingerprint as well. The second area, which is like Banadora or Netflix, which basically is not only providing, it provides recommendations. So the idea of recommender system, like what you have in, if you have like Amazon, for example, and it collects your needs, and then it can produce a recommendation or a recommender system. This is a very huge area now is picking up. And we have locally here pharmacies or stores where you go and buy medication. So when you go to this pharmacy or the medication outlet, they do have mobile apps, which they do have recommenders. So you go in and you state a budget, you state some symptoms, and then you have all of your medications in place, and then they give you a recommendation of non-conflicting drugs or medicines. We found out also many of these mobile apps for this outlet, they sell, because I understand medical treatment in your regions might be more controlled by doctors or but it's not everywhere. In some areas, you can actually take some off-the-shelf medications where you can right now buy it over a mobile app. In many of our communities right now, we have been using delivery. So the delivery or the authorization of the products become a mainstream. So many of these outlets will sell cosmetics, will sell extra products, and this extra product where they have a higher profit. So each one of these products will require, each one of this app would require a recommender. This is a very interesting area because you can go to local stores and start to sell them the idea of having a localized mobile app where they can build their own recommendations. Chatbot is huge, and I will show you a couple of samples what we've been doing in chatbots. And in chatbots, it's you have few consideration. One of them is you cannot take the notes and the rules of a specific organization and put it in a public training system over Google or Amazon training, because basically you are leaking out the knowledge. So building a local chatbot with a customizable trained system is very attractive for companies, and particularly banks, insurance companies which have lots of phone calls. Chatbot which understand and just localized, limited to them. And there are lots of friends we have in Saudi Arabia and Emirates, for example. They have companies only focusing on chatbot in a specific companies. And what they do is they built a localized network or a localized model, and they train the model with particular knowledge from this company. And these models are not exposed over the web. So people who are actually connecting to the chatbots, they go through a VPN links, and then it will be connecting to the security systems, through the security system to local information. Another example is robotics vacuum cleaner. This is another area of artificial intelligence. Self-driving cars is huge, and facial recognition is another big huge one. What does an AI professional do? If you understand AI as I explain it, it becomes a calculator. I call this is the calculator machine of the new era. So in the past, we used to do math in our heads, and I still, every time I go with my kids to the stores, I do the math in my head, and my kids will be surprised, like how daddy is faster than the vending machine, or because we have been trained when we were young and doing math quickly in our head, approximated math sometime. Nowadays, everybody's using a calculator. Nowadays, artificial intelligence, or it becomes commodity thanks to NVIDIA to make it commodity in general people's hands, because AI is not new, and you will see in some of my slides is not only in 1950 have been generated. The use of it is not new, and I will show you a couple of samples before we move to the CV and the the real hard work, okay? So where can you find a job? You can find a job in a financial service, in healthcare, technology companies, in media, in marketing, for sure, government and military, national security. There are IoT-enabled systems in agriculture, in gaming, and in retail. This is a snapshot of the top 10 or top 11 areas where you can find an AI, or as I call it sometimes, information technology, or IT department, or digital transformation expert, or data scientist, and I'll come to the names in a few minutes. So you can see here that you are somebody who will need to understand a little bit of financial service, a little bit of healthcare, a little bit of media, a little bit of marketing. You cannot just come with an AI knowledge. And that's why we will talk a little bit about how to position your portfolio so you can target one of these customers or one of these segments. For sure, the quickest and the fastest way for you to find a job is to start your digital marketing agency. And you can start, and there's so many tools right now. You can build websites, you can do digital marketing, you can understand demographics and stuff like that. So if anyone wants to launch a business right now, digital marketing is the easiest one to penetrate. There are not lots of knowledge, there is not lots of certificates. However, you need performance, and we can talk about how you can get this similar work. If you have questions about these particular professions, or you have a specific interest, please take some time to write in the comment, in the chat, what your questions. This is the very first productions we have. And this guy actually is AI-empowered TV announcer. Like, this is a TV commentator, and he went in at least seven or eight different high-profile shows. The technology we developed, in this technology, we used a digital signatures and the local slang. So we take the local slang and convert it to this particular media. When we use the technology, sorry, okay. When we use this technology, because this is like we were in the Arab region, we produce the same different characters, and part of the write-up here, people will say, who is the cutie? And nobody believes that this particular announcer is actually AI. They believe this because this is our media. This group stand by AI. They are stand by, it's an initiative 7 years here, and this group is actually dealing with media individuals. So we found out that when we just enhance their productions by building a new network, and try and modify a little bit of the data segmentation and the training, we start to produce different virtual commentators, and this some of them actually went to the local media here, and they are on some CVs. I keep popping back examples because you may pick up one or two examples, and you may go run to your local communities and try to implement them. Now, if I look at professional AI skills in demand for 2024, Python, C over C++, and MATLAB. These are the three main languages are required. Many of us will learn Python, and now people will ask, like, why do we need C or C++? Because if you want to do something in real time, fast enough, there is no other way than C or C++. And MATLAB for sure for the models. Where is Java, and where Java existed here? Yeah, you may have Java as secondary, but this is out of the surveys. We understand these are the top 3 different environments. If you look at IntelliPad blog, it recommends also recommends these additional skills for AI. Solid knowledge of mathematics and algorithms. problem solving skills, industry knowledge, which means if you select a career in the area of a specific industry, like healthcare, for example, and you talk about chest, it's very hard to move away from the chest to brain tumors or to X-ray on bones, for example. Industry knowledge has become one of the top 3 requirements, and then management and leadership skills and machine learning. What was really amazing in this particular blog, which call it IntelliPath, is machine learning became number 5 after industry number 3, and understand of mathematics and algorithm is the key. Why algorithms and mathematics is important? Because we are actually moving into an area of dynamic artificial intelligence. We have lots of new technology coming in, and we have lots of other platforms coming. So if you are not strong in math and algorithms, you will not be able to support yourself. According to ZipRecruiter, and I believe ZipRecruiter, you have it as well where you are, because it's a very it's like a universal recruiter, and their website, it really ranks high everywhere. It looks for communication skills, which basically how to say hi, bye, and teamwork, leadership, and management skills. It relates to communication skills. Knowledge and experience with Python, digital marketing goals and strategy, collaborating effectively with others, which basically teamwork, and analytical skills. It's amazing that in the set of top 5 skills we have been seeing, there is nothing about data science, machine learning. It's all about you can update your knowledge, you can learn, you have the basic knowledge. So this is an observation to make. So when you start to write your material, you have to understand this kind of requirement. According to a search engine, when we look at what are the most search jobs related to AI, you have computational linguistic, software developer, data scientist, natural language processing engineer, machine learning engineers, AI researchers, big data architecture, big data, data analyst, human-centered machine learning designers, NLP specialist, algorithm engineer, big data engineer, data analyst, business intelligence developers, computer vision enabled AI researchers, engineer, computer vision engineer, and AI researchers. And the top one was actually software engineer. So if you look at this particular graph, and we understand now when you have a CV, the CV will go through an automatic screening. They call it ATS system. And this automatic screening system will position you to a job ad or a job advertisement. So between your CV, your portfolio, your cover letter, you must have as many as you can from this particular word. If we do this in a normal setting, and we will always ask the students and the people looking for jobs, the new graduate, how many of you will write, I am a software engineer? People will say, no, we are now moving to big data architecture. Guess what? Software engineering is actually the most searched job in AI, which means this particular advertisement will have more than one term. So this is give you an idea that software engineering is not dead. Computer vision is not dead. Data scientist is not dead. There are actually people looking for particular terms, and then they look for AI. So I have this here for you to make your mind that when you look at your CV, when you look at your positioning, you must have this kind of keywords. If we understand the salaries scale, so we have big data analyst is 133,000. UX, user experience designer, it's 77,000 around. Natural language processing engineer is around 111. These are averages. Researcher is around 53. Research scientists is around 123, because research scientists usually are in the research facility in a company. However, researcher will be in academic. Software engineering, about 88,000, and AI engineer is 126,000. So out of these particular numbers, you will find that big data analytics and research scientist, and AI engineer, then research scientist, these are the top earner in the the path of artificial intelligence in North America, and I believe it's comparable to Europe. And these are the top salaries. There is also data mining. Machine learning engineer will take 145,000 average. Data scientist 120K. Business intelligence developer is 92. Big data engineer 142. Robotics about 100K, and computer vision is about 104. So if we look at the medians around this, you realize that we are in the top of 90,000 per year as income for anybody working in the area of artificial intelligence data science. Big data engineer and machine learning engineer, they always very close to each other, and they always rank at the top. This is I talk about the market growing. So basically the market will be growing, and it's expected to reach 641 billion in 2028, 5 years from now. And this will show the Google searches and the average number of monthly ads on LinkedIn. So the blue one are LinkedIn, and the yellow one are Google search, which means that the two conduit to the, like, for just to pick up an example, okay? So for example, the very low one, you have a little bit of yellow for Google, and a big bar close to 180,000 search on LinkedIn. However, on Google you have about 35,000. If you look at algorithm engineer, none on LinkedIn, none on Google. Data architect, big data architect, none on Google. NLP engineer, none on Google. Majority of the jobs right now going on LinkedIn. And this has created interesting phenomena that you must have a very strong LinkedIn profile, having all the right keywords, and locate jobs through LinkedIn. Now, in my time back in 10, 20 years ago, we used to have monster.com. It used to be a very famous website for jobs. We got lots of job hunting through it during my, after I graduated with my PhD, before I went to academia. Now you have something called the Glassdoor, which I don't hear about Monster anymore. I don't know where they stand. And actually I feel guilty because I'm supposed to collect all proper information. But this particular slide will show that artificial intelligence jobs are on LinkedIn. So you must have a vivid LinkedIn profile. Vivid means you have to build as much as you can from portfolio on LinkedIn. We always advise our students that every assignment you do it on AI or in machine learning or in data science, because we have these three disciplines, we have also cybersecurity, you must have an essence of it on your LinkedIn. Because remember, they look for industry experience. The only way to gain industry experience when you are a computer, when you are an AI student or computer science students, is by demonstrate different projects made in the area, for example, of brain tumors. So you can get jobs in companies producing machines, or in actual, like in Australia, you can have a job in the actual Ministry of Health for working in the area of analytics of a specific disease. So this is one thing you also put in front of your eyes, that your LinkedIn profile is a key. Is there a market? Is there a market? Operello stated that the market is 641 billion by 2028. The US Bureau of Labor expect employment of computer and information technology will grow to about 13%, which projecting around 667,000 new jobs in North America. We sit here and say, okay, so this what will do for me. I'm not in North America. No, it will do, because there are two ways. One way, majority of these jobs cannot be filled. So they will look for outsourcing or having these jobs, as many of you work on Upwork, because we do little tasks outsourcing, helping our finance as a students. Secondly, there is a percentage of growing in USA, which mimic, or like they say, like in Canada, for example, because I know this for a fact, in Canada is 1/8 or 1/10 of what's happening in the US. We are 1/8 of the population. We have 1/8 of traffic lights. We have 1/9 of the number of kilometers of road, because we are 1/8. We, at that particular statistics, we were 33 million, and USA was about 280 million or 300 million roughly. So anything happening in Canada is about 1/8 of the US. They are neighbor to each other, and that's how we do the measurement. The same, if you understand how much in USA, you can make a quick projection on how much will be in Japan, how much will be in Europe, how much will be in Eastern Europe, and how much will be in MENA area, or Middle East and South Europe area on the Mediterranean Sea, and how much will happen in Africa. I understand this is not a concrete mass, this is not the best numbers we have, but this gives us an expectation. So we expect to have 667,000 more jobs in North America, which means you may have up to 2 billion new jobs in Europe as a whole Europe. Concentrated maybe around Germany, maybe around France, which is the technology hubs, maybe some areas in East Europe, and the percentage is there based on the need. So this is where we say there is a market. Now, the top ranked LinkedIn search is data analyst, then machine learning, then software developer, then software engineering. So this are the top ranked LinkedIn job search. Before we proceed to this search, I want to just to make sure you understand that when people look for machine learning, they need also for software engineering, because I cannot use machine learning without having a mobile app or a real software to use it as a consumer. But this are the numbers right now of the LinkedIn job search. If we understand what companies are hiring, I have here two sources, one from LinkedIn and one from Glassdoor. Are these relevant to me in my country? The answer is yes, because the top one on LinkedIn is called Wells Fargo, and Wells Fargo are not a computer company. Okay. Now, Nike is number 2. Nike is a producer of best or feeling good or right equipment for athlete in different disciplines. Okay. They produce shoes, clothing, so many other things. Amazon Web Services is looking for machine learning engineers. Apple, Spotify, Microsoft. Out of the top 6 companies, only 2, and they don't rank as large, only 2 of them are computer related. And if we say Amazon, it will be almost half, which means that service providers are more. Now, Glassdoor, they talk about software engineering, data scientists, software developers, and research scientists. These are the higher. Some of the high companies, Deloitte, which is a business analytics company, Amazon, Accenture is like Deloitte, HR and the Block, this is a finance company, and IBM. BWC, which is like Deloitte, this BWC is where we got the definition from. Fidelity Investment, it's investment company. PayPal, it's a financial transaction. People in North America, they know it. It's like you pay electronically. is not valid in so many other countries. Major leagues in baseball. Baseball leagues, they have enough money to hire artificial intelligence. So if you understand what is a baseball league usages of an AI, I can tell you it's about sport performance. And I used to be developing systems for sport performance back in Canada in 2002 for speed skating, where we use computer vision to enhance and keep Canada on the top in the short track speed skating, and we keep the gold medal for Canada with an edge of 1/10 of a second. So rich countries or rich sports are looking for AI role. Harvard Business School, which is a business school. So why Harvard Business School is looking for an AI role? And all of us will know IKEA. So these are the top companies which is hiring AI. If I ask you which one of those is software development company, most of us will answer two. One is IBM with Watson engine, and the other one is Amazon because they have the Amazon services. But they may also be Amazon, which is the retail. You don't know. So this demonstrates that AI jobs are available in non-traditional programming. According to the salaries, we show some specific information. However, the average salary for a programmer will range between 100K to 150. AI engineers, it's about 171, and 25% of them earn more than 200. There is a range of an average depend on different responsibility. If you look at Indeed, which is another platform for salaries in the MENA area, it's about AI career. It's run between 100K to 141 for data scientists. The average annual pay, according to Glassdoor, is 120. And according to talent.com, the average salary is 143. The entry position between 115, and some of them can make up to 200K per year. 200K per year, about $15,000 to $20,000 a month. And this from one single job. The beauty about these particular jobs is sometimes you can do it with certification. So there are some certifications available, like Certified Artificial Intelligence, CertNext are Certified Artificial Intelligence Practitioners, Google Data Analytics, which is, I believe, for free. There is an IBM Applied AI certificate, IBM Engineers, IBM Data Scientist, IBM Data Analyst, and the most certified, Microsoft certified, like Azure AI Engineer and Azure AI Fundamentals. So this is our top 9 certificates. You may have local certificates. In the area I am in, there is local certificate from the Information Communication and the Information Technology Ministry. They have institutes and they have a 6 months and a year professional certificates in particular AI areas. But the beauty of this job, of this particular track, which has about 667 job expansion by 2030, that there are some certificates you can take to do career shift, to do enhancement positions, to do better than before. There is also some courses like AI for Everyone, Artificial Intelligence on edX, Artificial Intelligence in Udemy, Google AI. There is Introduction to AI Ethics on Kaggle. There is Introduction to Artificial Intelligence Coursera, TensorFlow and Deep Learning in UGC, Machine Learning, IBM AI Foundation, Deep Learning Specialization, and UGC has a School of AI. So these are courses that you may want to enhance your CV with. Now, what are the list of AI topics taught in these courses? Usually they are Python, ethics in AI, natural language processing, AI for business leader, machine learning, robotics, and AI algorithms. Where AI is being used today, the number one is wellness applications. Fitness tracking like Fitbit and Apple Watch. There are some robots, self-driving cars. There are some ride share applications. There are at least 4. Even on ride sharing application, we are not doing advertisement, okay? But let's just cut it short. There is something called the DD, Uber, which is Uberization, means coming from the Uber model for business. There is DD and there is NDrive. What was really interesting that there was a launch early this month in the new capital, which is a new city have been made in Egypt right now, which will take all the government jobs in this new capital. It's to the east of Egypt, east of Cairo, Cairo, about 50 kilometers. It's where we have our university and where actually we live close by. So in this particular development, I'm actually in favor of the development because I see it. I'm not judging the development, but I'm saying the following. They just launched a new taxi or a new cab, and the new cab has a ride-sharing application. You can call the new cab system, and the new cab system will do whatever you can do it on Uber or Didi. However, this is only for the new administrative capital or the new capital for administrations. It's not anywhere else. And this capital is huge. The footprint of it is large, is massive. It's maybe close to similar size of Cairo with all government. And like you can easily go from the university to the government district, 30 kilometers, easy driving on a very nice roads. So this particular capital, they launched their new rideshare app because they have a new fleet of fully electrical cars, and they were showing, they will do it as a showcase on the TV. And they also talk about plans of expanding beyond these territories, which means that an Uber rideshare will not function because Uber will take you from anywhere to anywhere. So ride sharing in a specific disabled areas is required, where you need to have artificial intelligence, software engineering development, full stack, front end, back end development. We also have been working a couple of projects in the new cities, because the new cities are not yet on Uber Eats or on what's the other name for the food deliveries, on the food delivery systems, because they are smaller outlet, different outlet, not major brand. So there is individuals who are doing order like Talabat and Uber Eats or Skip the Dish, which is, I believe you'll find it in Europe as well. They will do this part of development for a localized area, and they can manage delivery using not vehicles, but different sort of transportation like motorcycle and so forth. So this particular app have been used. Chatbot, we talked about. Personalized recommendation like Amazon, Netflix. Smart assistant like Alexa and Siri. Social media monitoring such as Facebook and facial recognitions. And if you are following the Indian election, you may look at how AI have been reshaping the election in India, and how they were using avatars to reach all voters in different language, in different areas, doing it ethically, because the actual candidate is taking photoshops. And I wrote a long article on that. If you have your name, I can make it available on how they can use deep fake to create a voice to reach almost everybody in the electorate with personalized messages, because over there they use WhatsApp, and they can get from WhatsApp some key information about names and so forth. So they give you a very personalized messages to you. This was an ethical use and authorized by the organization looking after the elections in India. So we talked about courses, we talked about what we can do. Now the question is, how do I choose the right AI course? So if you are not coming from a university like mine, which is an AI engineer or an AI scientist, you can actually look at the jobs, the career goals you have, and look at the course or the program aligned with it. You can look at the cost, time requirement, flexibility. Is it set date or flexible dates? Majority of these courses will be flexible date, but I warn you that if you don't have a rigid date, so ask your boyfriend or girlfriend or somebody you really scared from, like your wife or your husband or your spouse, to keep you disciplined to attend, because if the date is flexible, no timeline, guess what? None of us will actually pass the courses. and also is online or in person. This is another AI generated from SOAR. It's actually a small town. So imagine if you work for media producers for advertisement on TV or and YouTube, and you get engaged with building such as views to support your advertisement. This is what AI can do. This is the best one-on-one Dalmatian I ever seen. And we always have this kind of scenes. Somebody will say, okay, so what I'm doing here? What are you doing, sir? Is you write the prompt. The prompt which create this particular screen is an art. And if you go to I have a book on how to engineer prompt on Amazon. And there are so many other books, but if you like it, we can give you a free copy of it. It's not a big deal. But prompt engineers become one of the things which is really producing this particular videos. And this is a nice music. Yeah, I wish I can continue, but for the sake of time, this music is generated by AI. It has no copyright. It has no creations behind it. And I'm not talking about the code of ethics of and right of personalities and stuff like that, which we'll talk about later. Here I'm talking about if you would like to do a small introductions and you'd like to get free sounds, because I forgot to add it here. Facebook and YouTube now are detecting copyright material, as well as they detect AI component. So people are using these technologies, they need to understand. And all of these are technologies using prompt. These are several books, and these books are written by Bert early on. One of these books received an award back in 2016, best novel written. And unfortunately, it was a BERT model, and BERT model is comparable to GPT. Is not the topic of today to explain the difference between deep learning techniques and in the area of generative AI. But it's very interesting that these models existed in Japanese university, and they received best novel 6 times in a row for 6 novels. And nowadays you can actually have it. So all of these are AI assisted generated books. So if you work in the area of marketing and you do information selling, you are subject to create a book with information and a website with information. This is where I want to talk about it. Like virtual reality, AI, augmented reality, extended reality. This is not new area, okay? This area existed back in Space Jam in 1996. So in Space Jam, we have our very famous player, Michael Jordan. He went up to the cartoon planet because the cartoons wants to win a game, and he was fully immersed. And we have 3 different movies, okay? 96, 2003, and 2021. This is the origin. However, this is used to be done with what we used to call CGI computers. This is a very strong computer graphics enabled machines. These are not for the public and small companies to own at that time. Now, with the motion of cloud, Amazon, different Azure from Microsoft, Google, we start to see these models coming to the common average people. This movie, this slide actually come from a similar presentation I was doing for the Arabic community. That's why it has, I forgot to remove the Arabic word from it. But basically it's the same as the English. This movie, 1995, Toy Story, Pixar, thanks to Steve Jobs, the founder of Pixar, or the co-founder of Pixar, have foreseen that people can go to the movie theater and pay for 2 hours watching cartoon or computer animation. So 3D models as talking heads or as a TV announcer or a TV commentator, talking heads, 3D models, all of this stuff have been made using a special computing machine. Tom Schumacher said we could not have this movie in the traditional animation. This is as a story that can only really be told with 3-dimensional toy characters. Some of the sort of this film are so beautiful. Some shots of this film is so beautiful. Vice President of Walt Disney Feature Animation. This movie came 1995, 1999, 2010, and the last one was 2019. I have this here because I want to tell you, like, if you work in the visual animation, you are not new. People have it before, and we also, all of us love the Avatar. And this actually, if you look at the documentaries on YouTube on it, these are complete AI systems from 2009. This is another interesting prompt you can do on Sword. Yes, this is also Sword. And with prompt only, you can describe the whole scene and you can describe the motion, and the system will create it. I believe this is the last video we have. Then we go to the real things. Yep, this is I think this is the last movie. This movie also is
first colossal clash in the heart of cyberpunk soul, culminated in victory for humanity. A triumph carved out by the valiant efforts of Shadow Synapse. The resilience of AI robots surpassed all imagination, their capacity for recovery proving to be as formidable as their thirst for control. Now, as they marshal their forces for a counterstrike, the veil begins to lift on the entities orchestrating from the shadows. A revelation that could change the course of this war, a glimpse into the minds.
So this is another video. Now we ask you at the very beginning, who are these individuals? This to the right-hand side, I'm not sure if you put their names or not. These are actually live announcer on TV channels. One of them, which is the lowest one, it exists on 7 satellite channels with 4 different languages. So these are real in our life. These are 100% computer generated systems. There are some ethical issues with AI, as you guys know, which basically privacy. And privacy is one of the big ones, because you can basically take the knowledge of your company. It's like the guy from Google, from Samsung. He basically wants to rewrite some code with AI. So he took the code from his company, put it out, and asked ChatGPT or whatever how to use it. So this kind of particular practices are actually against your contracting with your company. So there are some issues also around the use of AI, not to harm anybody, not to create challenges for different races or different orientation. And one of the common explanation here, I say, if we know that we have 1 Nobel laureate in physics and female, and the 9 are male, and you use the AI to classify or characterize who can be a Nobel potential Nobel winner in physics and who can be the best researcher in physics, so we can give him more physics knowledge, most likely AI will be biased toward the human as a male, not a female, because the data itself showed that. No matter that females are more accurate, more prompt, more better used in daily life, but this is the question. So this kind of segregations, this kind of identification, it's some issues which you should actually, I would acquire you to have, I would recommend that you have a course on it. So knowing all of that before, how we map this to our life. So we have three things we'll talk about it. Three things. We'll talk about CV, cover letter, and portfolio. You can do more than the three, but these are the first three samples. So if you look at a good CV, it shall include specific sections. One is contact information. You can have your LinkedIn profile, which is we recommend. You can have a professional website, and you can have an email. You don't use a previous company email. Try to use, like for me, my email is wael@waelbadawy.com because I have my own domain as a speaker, and we believe sometimes they call me thought leaders. I have my own domain, but if you don't have one, just use Yahoo, Gmail, Hotmail, whatever. It's much easier, much easier. Then you need to have professional summary or objective. And this is where we have lots of resistance, because many of our students will say, I don't wanna this job, I wanna just have a general website resume. General resume will not do it. You must have an area where you can write more of the keywords. So professional summary and objective, you can put statements summarizing your professional background. Here where we will write, you have like software engineering experience, you developed a stack, a full stack solutions, you developed a back end. Here where you put the actual keywords, where an ATS or automatic screening system will look at your resume and match it to the job. We always recommend that you can have this professional summarization based on the advertisement for the job or based on a group of advertising. Then you will have your work experience. So your work experience is, where is your work experience? You need to have job title, company name, location, date of employment. You may want to have some bullet point of your own responsibility achievement, and you can look at quantifiable results. So for example, if I want to write, I worked on, which is a real project I worked on, a system for vaccination monitoring for kids and under the WHO contract in Cairo. This is a job I did back in 1995. So having this job in this way, this is actually what I did. But this is not what I did. The results of what I did is successfully deployed in 18 governorate, a monitoring system for vaccination under. So when I start to look at quantifiable results, like what is the achievement of what I did, this is where it will sound different. And you always use action word. Now, in terms of education, you put degrees, majors, universities, graduation, relevant coursework, and relevant coursework and honors relevant projects. So if you have graduation projects, you should write 2 to 3 lines under the graduation project. Why? If you have master's thesis and you have PhD, you should write 3 to 5 sentences. Why? Because you need to use the keyword where the job ad is looking for. So the ATS system would rank you high, and the human looking at your profile will make it sound comparable. Then you need to have skills, a list of relevant hard and soft skills tailored to the job, you are applying for, including technical skills, language, certificate, and other competency. And please, under these skills, feel free to write more explanation. So if you use, for example, there are some unique languages like ADA. So if you use the ADA, for example, write what kind of project you use under ADA. Not quantifiable, write keywords, because remember, they need to know what you have in the field or in the industrial area. So if you have the skills and you can position it to the industrial area, to the medical solutions, to the whatever solutions you have, this will give you a room. Now, after that, you have certification and the licenses. So any relevant professional license. You may have an area for projects. You can have a brief description of the project, tools and outcomes. Award and honors is an important one. And professional affiliations, like you have a part of a syndicate, part of a one time we were debating, somebody is a part of the professional basketball league. Should they write it or not? So we said, yeah, you should write it, because this will demonstrate that you are an athlete. And maybe you go to a company where they do have gym area and they like people to be fit. And this is what, now you have publications. Each one of the graduate will have a publication, which is always omitted, which is the graduation project thesis. So this graduation project thesis, if you don't have any other publications, you should have it under publication. Graduation project presentation. Specific key courses presentation. Like, for example, I give advanced machine learning as a course. I instruct also deep learning as a course. I instruct multi-dimensional data representation as course. If you give a presentation, put the title of the presentation as a coursework, right? It's a coursework and it shows 1, 2, 3, because this will give you extra hits to the actual keyword, if it will fit what you are looking for. Volunteer experience, you should write some, but not too many, because companies technically will not like people who are volunteering 24/7. But 1 or 2, it may do the job. I will answer the question, but just let me go through this one first. Then let me go through the last ones, and then I will answer the question. If you use any other language like English, French, I know, like in Slovakia, in Slovenia, in Ukraine, you have different language, and also they look for, because you are close to Europe, you can do lots of stuff in Europe. I used to teach course remotely over there, so I know that. So you may want to talk about that you have native, you have fluent in intermediate, and any other additional information like hobby, like in the hobby, we used to have like syndicate for collectors, for stamps and coin collectors. So we developed for them information technology system. So you basically write the hobby, you write the syndicate, and say what you can do. Now, we have a question here from Mohammed Khalid. Thank you, Professor Wael. This is an insightful webinar so far. I have a question regarding the ATS friendly CV. Do icon within a CV affect the ATS score? As far as we know, Mr. Khalid, the ATS score is only an ATS score. So on text. So having icons and having amazing backgrounds with visualizations, this actually will harm the ATS score, because the ATS score is basically matching keyword to keyword. It does not, in the job description, you will never find any symbols. You will never find other than text. And this will bring one more thing. This will bring, for us, as I said, like, it's not strange for you guys. I broadcast from Cairo. So we are from Egypt. So we use Arabic character. You have been seeing some of them here, okay? You use non-English characters in Ukraine or in different language, German or French. So make sure when you type your CV, it's typing in Times New Roman or in Arial fonts. No external character, because sometimes, for example, when you have a PDF file and you make a select and copy and paste, you will find it look like gibberish. It does not look like words. So if you have your PDF file and it went to the ATS system and you have very special fonts and the fonts are not standardized, guess what? The ATS system will not be able to read your CV now or your resume. Now, will they contact you to send a new resume or new CV? No, sorry, sir. Sorry, dear. They will just send it out, and it will not be part of the screening CVs. So symbols is no. Images, graphs, special fonts are no. I understand that you go to some places and they give you this shiny human readable CV when you have frames like 2 different blocks and you write into these blocks. These blocks do not translate into language inside the PDF file. It stayed at blocks, and these blocks are not readable by many of the ATS systems. So I'm not aware of a single ATS system which will be usable. I hope I answered your question. I see another question coming. Let's just 2 questions. Yukib said, can artificial intelligence write a book? I can say yes. Artificial intelligence can write a book. You can select the subject, and actually on Amazon Books, there is now a new tab for books written by artificial intelligence. But ethically, you must write that this book is written by artificial intelligence. And there are so many writers, they write by artificial intelligence. And there's actually books between, I believe, 99 cents up to $10 or $99.99. They are written by AI. And we were wondering why people will buy them. And people will basically buy them because they would like to know if AI is writing. Okay. So the question is, can AI write a CV? This is a question I expected from the forum. And the answer is yes, AI can write a CV. And remember that there are some tools which will detect AI created content, and they use like efficiency of words against meaning. There are some interesting metrics you should be able to, or you should be curious enough to read about them. I had to read about them because I wrote a specific segment. I sent it to a conference. They said, no, this is written by AI, but I swear to God, I was the one who wrote it, So I took one old document of mine with the same written style. I put it in, and I got the same feedback. I sent back to the conference and said, no, sorry, guys, this actually was it was a test on you guys. This was published back in 2001, before even generative AI was actually discovered. So there is zero potential that these particular segments are written by AI. So you have to be careful how much. Remember, you can use AI to like Grammarly or ChatGPT or Copilot. I'm not in favor of one, and I'm not against any. I'm saying, just to make the discussion meaningful here, you should be able to use them to squeeze and screen against grammar mistakes, against so many things. But you have to be careful, because I remember, just Costello said, you are the one responsible for your fate. So your fate is yours. Your CV is yours. It's not the ChatGPT CV. So you can use it. The answer is yes. If you want to use it, be cautious to read again and to correct what AI will not. And you never, ever in your life write a CV which is not you. And let me tell you a very interesting personal story I had. Back in 2018, 2017, in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, I used to have a friend from Afghanistan, or from Pakistan, and he has an eyesight issues, and he was not looking for any jobs. He was looking for what they call it, night auditor in hotels. So the night auditor is somebody staying overnight. He makes sure everything is done and does not have too much traffic. So he found out that this a job will suit him. So he went out and he went from Munster, and he got a resume from somebody who worked as a night auditor in a hotel in Dubai. And he removed his name and he put all the other information. He sends the CV in. Guess what? He was called for an interview. So the guy said, did you work in this particular huge hotels in Dubai? He said, no, I have to tell you the truth. I was really desperate for the job, and I find no other way to pass a CV screening. other than, and he explained what I told you in a minute. Guess what? This is the only one, and the only one I ever admit he's liar on his CV, and he got the job. Because this was a family operated a small motel, family operated motel, and they really feel he has the passion and the honesty, so they hired him. But I'm telling you the story. It's a real story, actually. I still have the contact of my friend. You know, we knew each other for like maybe now since 2015 or so, 2015 or so. But you know, this is the only one. I tell you the story because the story happened. It's only one in a million times. If you lie in your CV and you admit misinformation, you get the job. Okay, not in our technical career, guys. Okay. Anyway, avoid grammar mistakes, typographic errors, and use a clean and professional format. Clean and professional format. So every service giving you a very fancy CV with all of the square bullets and 2 different lines and boxes here and there. These are very common in Egypt, by the way. In Canada, we don't have boxes. In Egypt, everything has to be boxed or framed in a frame, which is you shouldn't do anyway, because the box or frame, if you take a scan or if you take a copy machine, it will look not oriented. No, the orientation will not be maintained. But it's just this is one job. Now we move to the cover letter. Many of us will say, do you need cover letter? I said yes, I need cover letter because I am willing to beat the ATS system. And by the way, there are lots of companies are using ATS system right now, are small to medium sized companies, are not all of them like the past. It's the big old companies. Okay, so I need a cover letter because I need to match as much as I can with the ATS system. So what you may want to do is you may want to take the advertisement, put it to ChatGPT or Copilot and say, please write me a cover. Okay, step number 1, write your CV, upload it to your ChatGPT. Then take the company advertisement, put it there, and ask ChatGPT to write you a letter. ChatGPT will write you a very decent letter, but you have to read it and revise it and make sure whatever in the letter match what you want to say. Okay, this is the trick of it. But coming back to the cover letter, you have a header, you have a salutation, dear so and so. You have an introduction, it states the position you are applying for and how you find out about it. Mentioned any mutual connection to the company is very important. Conflict of interest. Briefly introduce yourself and express your enthusiasm of the position. And then you have 3 paragraphs in the body. Describe relevant experience and the skills. Highlight 1 or 2 key accomplishments you have. Second paragraph, explain why you are interested in the position in this company. When you try to relocate to a new region, one trick is if you will go get closer to somebody, you say why you are moving. So like for example, I'm coming from Alexandria and I want to hunt a job in Cairo. So I have to find the reason, because they will not accept that I will travel 3 hours every day back and forth, which will make it 6 hours. So you can write that you are living with your family or you are relocating to this particular area. There is always a 20-minute rule, which basically to commute to your company, you need to be within 20 minutes of the company. 20-minute driving, walking, by bicycles, it's just 20 minutes rule. Third paragraph, you describe your background, skills, experience, you're strong to fit. All of these shall have keywords from the advertisement if you have an ATS system. At the end, you want to have a conclusion, and then you need to have a closing. And the conclusion will include the summarization, and you'll have this in the video. This is an example of a cover letter. I meant to have it here because I want to show you how much white areas in the cover letter. The cover letter should be like that. 1 page with lots of white spaces. The more they don't have to read, the closer you are to the job. Given that this particular 2, 3, 5, 7, 9 lines are sufficient to have all the acronym. We are programmers, developers, AI, data scientists. So we always look for what we call it developers portfolio. This portfolio can exist on your LinkedIn, and it can be a separate document you send over with your CV. So this portfolio will basically show what kind of projects you did work on. So if I want to go quickly over the portfolio, and if anyone of the audience have received a portfolio, please write it in the chat or write it as a question. So we can validate the concept. Your personal information, introduction or a bio, contact information, professional summary, concise summary of your experience and skills, list of programming language, frameworks, tools, technology you are proficient in, highlight any specialized skills such as machine learning, DevOps, cybersecurity. In terms of projects, you need to put the title and description, technology, role in the project, outcome and results, links, screenshots if you can, or videos if you can. And remember that some of the contract for different projects, it may have a non-disclosure. So if you have a non-disclosure agreement on a project, you will write confidential project. You can talk about it in a confidential way, and you may not have. Now, for people who are putting stuff on GitHub, we got two questions. One, shall I share everything? If you are hunting for a job, it's a full-time job, and yes. And if you look for something similar, can they steal my GitHub? If you believe they will steal what they have on GitHub, stay at home and don't find a job, okay? Because the knowledge is there. The idea is how you can get somebody efficiently using the knowledge. So having this GitHub is demonstration. And if you have other than GitHub as a platform, please list them. Trello is one of the tools which you should use for software engineering. There is this other one for bugs tracking. I remember its name. There are so many tools you may want to use, and you may have to list, because if you don't list them, it means you are not professional. So if you don't have bugs tracking software, you are not professionally writing codes in groups. So many of the tools, go back to your software engineering course, look at all the tools and try to use them and list them here. If you have work experience, previous jobs role, including company names. So if you have a startup companies or working group, or if you did some work for some of us, for example, for our graduation project, we'll collaborate with a company, or we'll like I showed you, the standby collaboration. This is actually an independent group supporting individuals in advertisement and marketing areas. So we collaborate with them. So my students will put in the workplace that they develop this project for them. So the project will show in so many areas, one in the graduation project, one in the classroom work, and also in the work experience. You can also have some education, you can have testimonials, you can have some articles if you write articles, open source contributions, and you can also have additional information. Now, LinkedIn allows you to do this. And as I'm saying, if you are in year 3 or year 2, or if you are not graduating this year, try to, as much as you can, to write blogs and articles on every single subject. I have a good guy I know as an excellent student. For example, he got transformers, so he started to write about transformers. Then he got into the mode of creating transformers from the scratch for generative AI solutions, and he started to write these tutorials. So people who put these blogs and tutorials over their LinkedIn profile, over their GitHub profile, will be highly sought by companies, because they demonstrated not only they do have the skills, they also can communicate the skills. So they are team player. The only downside of doing video like mine is you may have an accent. So if you have a heavy accent, people may don't like your accent. So you have to understand, when I look at you at your CV, I understand English is not your native language, but I'm okay. And then I can invite you after I got convinced with your skills. A complete different scenario if I click in and I found you on video and I don't like your accent because it's heavy. So you're out. So you have to balance if this for people who have who needs to have different areas. One more thing, I don't have it here, but I have to say it. You must have also a clean profile on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever social media common in your country. Because there was a study early on stated from Google recruiters. They said if they look at they have a 40% better quality candidate if they screen their social media, non-professional social media. The non-professional social media is now a mainstream for validating and having. So if you don't have a clean means you don't have the kids stuff. If you understand what that means, the kids stuff. You don't have the photos with beers and wine. You don't have the photos where you get it around the beach, because in a professional setting, this is not a professional photo. So every single photo, it's okay to have beer on the table. I'm not saying no, but don't look like drunk. Okay. Because like people will get really concerned if you have some acceptable professional images. I can share with you also a real story. I used to be a mentor of a lady, and this lady used to be a coach for teenager and for non-addictive. So she will go to schools, and if there is an addiction, she will work with the school. And she used to be a role model in the neighbor or in the city I used to live in. And she was very famous. She will go to almost every stage when they talk about well-being of teenagers. She worked with high school all the time. She has an agency. And I found myself calling her 4 o'clock in the morning on Christmas Day because she has a nasty photo after being drunk. And she felt bad about it. She removed it. In a week or two, she called me and she thanked me that I was proactively taking action to protect her identity. So you validate where you want to work. And if you want to work in an area which is really professional, you have to maintain your Facebook professional. I'm not talking about different ideas, different concepts. I'm just having it professional. If you are a musician and you like to play guitars, have photos of you with the band, but not with the band in boys club or in a nightclub with smokes. Okay, don't have your photos having weed, for example. Okay, you can smoke. Many of us will smoke. It's not a big deal, but you don't being showing as a heavy smoker, because you may end up working in a non-smoking environment. They will make an early decision that they don't like you to come in, because you basically will not feel comfort because they don't allow smoking. You make your mind around it. I'm not trying to get into different ideology and philosophy, because it's not the venue for it. Is what I want to say is make your Facebook, your Snapchat, your TikTok professional. I like vehicles, I like car, I like travel. I have so many photos about every trip. I have so many photos, and I like. But when I have students looking at my portfolio as a university professor, do I really want to put myself smoking cigar with my friends? I don't, because I have teenager looking for me as a role model. So use your best judgment to make a profile. The other question which somebody should ask is, do I have to have a social media platform? Yes. There are more than 1,000 social media platforms. There are at least 27 platforms. You must have your photos on your WhatsApp if your country will use WhatsApp. Professional photo. Not necessarily in a suit and a tie. A clean shirt. Not a short. Not a sleeveless short. Having it professional. And if you don't understand professional, because I also have these teenagers always challenging me about professional, go stand downtown in front of a company which you like to work for and look at people who get in and out from the building. Try to look like them. Try to look like no flip-flops, no shorts, because we wear them. It's okay. I agree with you. When we work at home, we use flops. And to be honest with you, if I stay overnight at my work, I most likely I will have pajamas on, you know. We go to movie theater in pajamas on New Year, but not for professional work. So please, guys, please keep it professional. Now, let's just finish. We have 2 more slides. One is tips for creating an effective developer profile. Keep it updates. And if you cannot keep it updates, go and repost the previous posts as new post. Make the copyrights last year or modern, not 3-5 years. Be selective. Showcase your best work rather than every project. Show your progress, your process. Include description of your problem-solving process, thoughts, idea behind it, which means you may want to have some notes. I have friends who will actually put handwritten notes because this project management documents written in handwritten, it demonstrates they understand the concept. And guess what? They basically copy it from Trello because they barely understand, but they show. And now when you show, and let's answer the question about ethical in a few minutes. Make it visual, use screenshots, use videos. Many of us can actually do a quick demo. So basically record the screen, a quick demo, and save it as a video. Provide context to your project, the impact, what you can use it for. Ensure usability, ensure that everybody can navigate. And the best things to ensure usability is to get your friend to navigate it for you, to show it to your friend. Many of us will be like that. They want to hide everything. They want to hide everything. Guess what? If I have my jacket open and you say, okay, you know what? Adjust the tie, I will look nicer. I will look better. So don't be enclosing that you can do the best, because many of us are programmers. They are introvert. Many of us, they don't like to share. So please, if you want to ensure usability, get somebody else to be able to run through it. Highlight problem solving. We talk about it. Demonstrate growth. Show the complexity and the growth of your work. And this is an actual portfolio. You can have a home page. You can have the introduction and the skills. You can have a project page, which basically is a type of project. You can have about page, which is about you. You can have a blog page, and you can have a contact page where you have your contact and the link to your social media profile. And for sure, at least GitHub, if nothing else. Before jumping to the conclusion, I have to ask this question. Is it ethical to really expand or really blow out your skills and try to do? The question is how desperate you have to the job, and how you have to tell the truth. You have to stretch the ethics below lying line. So you can expand a little bit, but don't lie. Because if you cut liar, you will not be able to find a job anywhere. So this is the kind of information I'd like to say. At the end, I give you a conclusion. This conclusion basically, we went through AI, artificial intelligence. We showed so many examples. We have evidence proven that there are workplace. There is an expansion number in the market said there's an expansion in jobs. I demonstrated what kind of jobs people can hunt for. I also described how you can tailor CV portfolio and LinkedIn. A CV portfolio and a cover letter to be able to look for a specific task or jobs. If you don't look for jobs and you want to have your own startup company, I can tell you, you can use this presentation when you hire others for your company, because everything here I taught you is actually experience I gained through my career as entrepreneur or as founder of different companies. It makes sense with my academic life. So no matter you are hunting for a job or you have a small startup company, if you want to understand who people applying for you or wants to work for you, how they are really keen, they need to pass this particular test and this particular sheet. At the end, I will have to just lower this. I will leave this running on the screen. This will explain the ghost, which we have been seeing early on. And I want to open for questions. If you have questions or you have comments, I would like to hear it so we can address them in between. And I will leave this video running so you basically can. This video, as you heard, is just noise. Sorry, sound music. So there is nothing really other than the screenshots was describing exactly what this ghost is about. And what I like about this analytics is basically it takes you through thoughts. It shows you how step by step you can reach a conclusion. Like he said, this guy did not either see the ghost. Any questions, guys? I'm more than happy to answer any questions if you like. So we have just Aisha just writing down all thanks. I really these are very valuable lectures and information. I was pleased to join and all thanks. So thank you, Aisha. And as I said, like you have my contact. I will have it in a few minutes. If you need me to do like help you out with any of the material you put out or CVs or stuff, I'm more than happy. Khaled also said thank you, Professor Wael. Thank you, Khaled, very much. And as I said. I will always have I have my contact. If you really want to send me an email or connect with me on LinkedIn, I'll be more than happy to share my experience. So I really click something wrong here. So you still can see how the color of her clothing, the red ones to blue. So and this is actually the answer. This is actually a silverfish. So the ghost which went over CNN, it was actually a silverfish lighting with blue lights coming from the reflection. And if you can see the motion here of the fish, is the same as this is actually the ghost. And I can tell you, like I have experience and areas in computer vision and advanced computer vision, AI on the edge for cameras, intelligent cameras. And when we have these cameras in different places, we used to have a spider web on the top of it, and we used to have something similar to this particular view, I believe. So thank you, Mohammed Khaled. So I have here some question and answer. If I am interested in a career in AI, where do I start? I share with you where you start. You have so many courses. Many of them are for free, and you can build your knowledge. It takes between 3 to 6 months to start in a position, if you like. What skills and the background do I need to pursue a career in artificial intelligence? The statistics demonstrate, as we showed before, critical thinking and soft skills. Technical skills you can always learn. What is the outlook for a career in AI? It's basically a position you start right now, and you keep adjust and learn the new tools every time. Do I have to have a master? No, not really. You don't need to have a master if you don't want to have a master, because basically professional certificates and projects is why people are hired before it. What is the benefit of a master degree in artificial intelligence? If you want to have a master, it will give you just some sort of formal education. However, it will not give you a job, because job is based on performance. What should I think about when selecting an AI course? What you should think about is where the potential internship or position you would like to proceed. So if it's in this digital marketing, you will start as digital marketing area. If you are in medical or in you plan to go to finance, is based off what's your interest in. What are the major difference between AI courses? Almost all of them are target the same area, so they are not really much different. It's basically the applications and the data associated with the applications. How do I know which AI certificate program is right for me? As I said, if you look into what you want to do, you will find some tracks. Also, what I always tell my students is you should go and look for AI jobs and posting and listing, and take this posting and listing as guidance. So if they look for a Huawei certificate, go for Huawei certificate. If I look for Cisco certificate, go for Cisco certificate. If I look for IBM, go for IBM. Majority of the work outside right now, they look for Amazon, AWS certificate. So you need to figure out which certificates. When should I consider a master degree over a certificate degree program? If you look for managerial jobs, master and PhD are one important factor to it. However, if you want to look for a job right away, a certification or a professional certification, be one of things. I hope at the end I create interest that all of you will advance artificial intelligence career. Here is my contact, and this is actually this QR code will get you to my LinkedIn, and I have WhatsApp on my phone, and this will basically conclude my presentation. And if you have any last minute question, let me know. I believe we still have 6 minutes before closure, so let me know what else can we talk about.
So since there is no more question that I can see, thank you so much, Professor Wael. It was very interesting and insightful topic. And thank you everyone for watching the tutorial. We'll have a short break now and see you back here in about 20 minutes at 2:30 p.m. Central European Summer Time.
Thank you very much, and looking forward to be with. Oh, there's one more question. Let's just get
yeah, of course.
How do you use artificial intelligence in the field of training, especially field of occupational health, safety and health? This is actually a very well dense questions. So in the field of training, okay, in health and safety, we used to install cameras in shops and workplaces, and I do have a patent on human versus bags and luggages on timing belt related to safety. So I can use it in health and safety with the operation. I can augment cameras, I can augment vibration sensor, impact sensor. I can do so many things about the environment. So this is in the health safety and health real-time monitoring. I can do that. And part of my patents, my technology, were actually deployed on H2S detections and CO detections in oil and gas industry. Now, if I look for training, I can do so many things, because if I have a training and I latch the avatar or the talking head, it actually can, with some small Python scripts, you can actually create what we call it personalized training. You can basically adjust the amount of information based on the skills. You can also having in running surveys, because you can build surveys and you can ask people, so you can build a recommender system. You can also look for positioning and motion. Back in 1992, 1994, we used to have technology called histogram. So with histogram analysis of videos, we used to know, like, is the motion is right? Like you left, right, you jump right. So there are plenty of areas where you can use AI in the field of training, as well as the field of monitoring of safety and health. At least a recommender is a minimal things. A question bank, a collection of question bank, tailoring the material. This is on the remote site location. One more thing is, if you have a website and you give it audio and sound for all visual impaired and people who are having different accent, different languages, they can have the repeat. This on its own, it's a good use, because now the user in a remote area far away from you will be able to interact and will be able to reacquire the information. This is what I can keep going for another 20 minutes if you like, but this give you some highlights, and thank you for this valuable, interesting questions. And thank you, sir, for accommodating the last dense question.
Yeah, you're welcome anytime. Thank you all, guys, and see you soon.
Thank you. I will leave for now.
Okay, thank you.